I was just talking about how funky the intro was, because I think it is, frankly. Welcome back to the last Daily Rundown of the week with me, Paul Burgess. Thank you for keeping us on Channel 7. Loz Kay and Jackie Wright are here. They've been sat sitting talking about all kinds of things, and now they're ready for another story, aren't you?
Yes.
Oh,
here we go.
I have to get my tune ready.
Oh, God,
I just have to. US Republican presidential candidate and walking punchline Donald Trump the noise is essential whenever you say his name. It keeps him away. Yeah. He has insisted that Mexico will pay for a border wall 100% in a major immigration speech. He told a cheering crowd in Arizona that he would secure the border and left open the possibility that millions of illegal immigrants be deported. Hours earlier, he met Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto. What a lovely name. But said they had not discussed financing the wall. The president later insisted he had told Mr. Trump Mexico would not pay. There had been speculation that the Republican candidate would back off his plan to deport the estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the US. 11 million. Is this man real? Loz Kay, over to you.
Oh, yes, here we go. It's like, yes, he haunts us, doesn't he, Mr. Trump?
Oh.
Let's hope that we can be free of him by November. But it's like, but we've seen now, you think we can't get to some kind of new low of ridiculousness, and yet here it is, and we've reached that yet again. Kind of the ridiculousness was that also he tweeted on words along the same, Mexico says it'll pay for the wall, and then the Mexican president just tweeted, yeah, exactly, no, we're not. And it's like saying, well, I mean, like, you could have told him that. I could have told you. We could have all said, we could have just saved him a journey and said, listen, love, it's not
listen, love.
It's not. They're not going to pay for the wall, you doofus. But yeah, I mean, it does leave you a bit speechless. But it's also what's appalling is the utter xenophobia, the racism that's in all of this, and this extraordinary idea that obviously these promises, apparently that he'll be able to deport millions of people within kind of hours of him taking
find
others.
them first.
Well, exactly. It's like how? Yeah. It's like which people? Who do you send to go and get them? It's extraordinary. So it's so unthought through. It's bizarre.
Oh no, he's talked about an extension to the story is that he's developing like a task force, but he said within his first hour of being president, Loz, they'd all be out of there.
Well,
gone.
Yeah, well, exactly. He said he's going to make a task force, but he can't do that until he's president. It's like okay, like phone up my task force.
Exactly. Yeah, the minute he's elected.
What are you thinking? Yeah. It's so bizarre. But nevertheless, it's kind of worrying that also recent polls have shown a kind of narrowing. That was always going to happen. And for a long, and yes, he's been polling terribly, even in the Republican red states. I mean, notably, not unsurprisingly, he doesn't poll very well with African American voters. Like Hillary's on 68%, she's ahead 19%. So I think probably it's going to be Latina women that are going to save all of us in the world. Basically, they're the ones that are going to kind of save or hide, I think, in terms of the voting. But people said all along during the primaries that he hasn't really got a chance of becoming
This is it. Everybody kept saying this, and you think, what are you doing? You can't. He's got this far. Don't rule him out.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the thing, because he has been good at channeling some of those emotions. And I think we've talked about this before. Also, the kinds of things that kind of feeling of being disenfranchised. He's actually quite good at it, even though it's very viscerally powerful. Yeah. Apparently,
It terrifies me in the exact same way as the, sorry, I'm about to say the B word again, the night before Brexit, the vote, I went to bed completely confident that I would wake up the next morning and we would still be in Europe and everything would be fine.
Yeah.
And then half the country voted to leave, and then this horrific underbelly of racism reared its ugly head, and thankfully seems to have taken a back seat again now, although there was a Polish man murdered by a group of teenagers just a few nights ago.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is. But I think the same two things are happening in America and in Britain. The human race, and especially we in the West, there is this inherent racism in at least half of us. I truly believe that. And it found its out path through Brexit here. It's finding its justification through Trump in America. Because you can blame everything on them. Our country's not the way it should be. I don't have a job here in my own hometown because of them. Ain't nothing to do with the fact that I'm a lazy bum.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot. I mean, obviously, there are lots of reasons why people voted to leave the EU, and I think it's really important that we don't allow, particularly the kind of the Farages of this world, to kind of hijack that. I mean, Tim Farron was making a speech along those kind of lines this week and was also trying to put that counter case. But I think there is something very worrying at the moment, and I think you're absolutely right to say that there is a kind of a similar current that we're seeing, and of course it's not just Britain and the US as well. Is that we've seen in France and Marine Le Pen going forward. That also there's been similar parties like that in kind of Denmark and Sweden, places that also traditionally have been very open-minded,
liberal. Yeah, absolutely.
But I think it's that also when there's been a lot, particularly in terms of upheaval. I think it's absolutely about that, blaming the other. But also, I think it's this whole image of the wall. I find really disturbing, actually, that you block things out, and that so much of our history we've wanted to try and break those down. And think about Berlin Wall and all that, but also that this is the defining idea for Donald Trump, isn't it? That's what people think about a policy idea. I mean, actually, I think more people in this country would be able to name that policy of Donald Trump than anything that Hillary Clinton stands for.
Yeah. You're right.
Because it's this very potent image, and it's I think it's a chilling image. It's the image that we're kind of also seeing right now, say in Palestine, Israel, similar things.
Absolutely.
And I think we're better in terms of trying to think about how do we also maybe get rid of a few walls, not build some more. I don't know.
You know what I say? Less walls up, more fools down.
More fools?
That's what I say, because I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them running countries and stuff. Here's another story for you. There has been an explosion on the launch pad at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where the aerospace company SpaceX was readying an unmanned rocket for launch. Thank goodness it was unmanned. The cause of the blast is not clear, and it is not known if anyone was hurt. NASA said SpaceX was test firing a rocket which was due to take a satellite into space this weekend. The force of the blast shook buildings several miles away. SpaceX is seeking to create a new era of reusable rockets and affordable private space travel, and has used its Falcon 9 rocket to take supplies to the International Space Station. I'm quite into the idea of reusable spacecraft, but with everything that went wrong with the shuttles, is that?
I like that. Private space travel they're looking at, anybody can afford it. Like Branson's already signed up.
Hasn't he?
I like that idea. I would never be able to afford it, but I do like that idea.
Yes, it's one off. That's one extraordinary sort of day trip, isn't it?
I do like that idea.
Let's have a trip.
Let's go to the moon.
Oh yes, shall we do that? It's nice this time of year. I heard. No, it's like I mean, why I think SpaceX is quite exciting is like also Elon Musk's behind it, that so the idea is that there should be landing on Mars by sort of the beginning of the 2030s, and also a whole sort of Mars space base in the 2040s. So it's actually nice to get some sort of exciting ideas again, because everyone got very excited about the moon rockets in the 60s and so on. And it seems quite a lot at the moment is we're very ambitionless, it seems like, as a kind of world. But yeah, we were talking about putting up walls. It's all about sort of turning in on ourselves, and I think space travel has always kind of said, a much bigger perspective. Elon Musk was talking about saying, well, at some point, as a human race, we've got to escape this tiny little blue dot of our planet, and also all of those ideas I find genuinely exciting and inspiring. I'd like it not to be about sort of any one private company or one country.
We should all be working
together.
Yeah,
but
that's like the world.
Yeah, but that's obviously they're the ones who are doing it at the minute. Unless anybody else is doing it, do we know of anybody else doing it?
Well, traditionally it's all about it's been about different countries, hasn't it? And so kind of and the whole space race thing. I would think the Chinese will be wanting to put people on the moon, and I think they'll probably be wanting that prize, the first people on Mars. I'd think, but I just like it to be like in Star Trek, really. Where it's like we're all together, on the Starship Enterprise kind of approach,
To kill that one.
Can we have Voyager instead?
Oh yeah.
Voyager with Janeway. My favourite
absolutely.
captain of all time. We're going to take another quick break now, but do join us because there's lots more to come. She's got something to say. He's got something to say. I never shut me gob. So come back in 3 minutes, please do. Thank you.